This chapter brought to you by the Good Fire Corporation.
Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute since I put anything out. And for anyone wondering, there's tons of stuff coming very, very soon. So I'm working on that a lot, actually. But today I felt compelled to post a video about this because I guess for the past 6 years, this company called Cortical Labs has been working on something horrific. At least it's horrific in terms of just the implications of what is a human and what is a machine. But apparently for the last 6 years, this company has been developing an organic biological computer. And for $35,000, apparently this thing is going to go on sale soon. And you will be able to, well, first I'll get into how they do this. I'll read a little bit of this article, but it is called the CL1. And for the past 6 years, they have been putting human neurons on a type of template, like a plate, and kind of experimented with growth. And I guess what they have come to sort of turn it into is like an artificial body. This is very, very strange, made of living tissues that actually perform the functions of a body. So when these neurons will actually grow and multiply on this plate, I guess, and increasing their computing power. And as an aside, before I go on, the reason they're doing this is because of the flaws in AI now, because of what they call quote unquote dreams or nightmares that the AIs are having, the purely machine-driven AIs. Apparently they have what they call nightmares, or when they misbehave, or delusions is another common word. They'll just deviate from the information that they're drawing on and just sort of develop a micro personality and just become completely irrational. Imagine that. I've talked a lot about transhumanism and how the source of a lot of this transhumanist movement is occultic. I mean, and when I say occultic, I mean it's coming from the base word occult, meaning hidden. I mean, we can go on about the source of that, but there is a movement that's being hidden from most of the public, and most of the public wouldn't even understand it if you showed it to their face. But they have an agenda, and immortality plays into that. These people want to live forever. They're rich. They have tons of resources. They have enough money to last them generations. They won't want for anything. They could live foreseeably hundreds of years or thousands, whatever, and they could live off of it with the resources and money that they have. So why not live that long? And others will comment that maybe certain people are trying to avoid a certain hot place, a hot place of judgment that they don't want to go to. So they want to live forever. They'd rather stay in the physical plane than go anywhere if such a place existed. They're sort of hedging their bets. But yeah, so they created this thing. I mean, this is born out of the transhumanist movement, but the CL1 is what they call a wetware brain in a box. And for $35,000, you can have one of these things that's not supposed to have the same flaws. It's going to be even more powerful at some point when it scales up, more powerful than machine-driven AIs. But it gets a little macabre because apparently they developed, when the neurons grow, they're made of living tissue, so they have an expiration date. Those neurons are not going to last forever. But in order to extend the life of the neurons, they created a circulation system, a system to remove waste, basically like what a human body does. but it's just neurons on a plate that interact with each other, and with software in real time, apparently. So a lab-made hunk of brain is hooked up to 59 electrodes that create a stable neural network. And this is all plugged into a life support unit and hooked up to a proprietary software system, according to them. So this CL1 is a man merged with machine. And I've used that phrase, I don't know how long, for how many years. I've only had the channel for a few years here, but I've used this phrase as a warning, about how detrimental and dangerous this is, and how this people don't take it seriously. It sounds like a tagline. It sounds like a phrase, like from a movie, man will merge with machine. But I had to put this out because this biocomputing monster is real. And one of the craziest things about this is that even with all the circulation systems and waste removal and this body pumping chemicals and particles in and out of the system to prolong the lifetime of the neurons in the system, it only lasts 6 months. So this thing, it's so weird. It's like it's born into existence. It's going to become self-aware like an AI will. But it knows, it's very strange. It just seems like, they would have even more motivation to extend their own lives because they got 6 months. What happens when they become hooked up to, security systems and the internet and become, orders of magnitude smarter than human beings, and they get access to all these power systems or whatever, all this stuff happens, and then they only have 6 months. I mean, if you've ever seen Blade Runner, they came into there was the same motivation there, like when I forget what they even called them, the artificial robots in that movie turned on replicants. Yeah, there we go. Of course, it comes into my brain 30 seconds later, but the replicants knew that their time was limited. I think they had a few years. And they went on this journey to escape from where they were, and ultimately it turned out to be a revenge mission against their creator because the creator gave them such a limited life. And there's an allegory about how humans, rage against God and all that stuff because of the same thing. We have these limited lives. So in the occult, they have something called summoning and creation of even demons. They can be born through rituals. And some traditions hold that powerful magicians or sorcerers can create demons through ritualistic practices. This can involve focusing intense intention, energy, and symbolism to give form to a spiritual entity. And if there's truth to that, if this is happening in the spirit realm, the same thing is happening on multiple levels when men are basically forging their will to the creation of something that, has a motive. The motive behind this is what, ultimately, when they create something like this, whether intentional or not, up front, it's the grabbing of power. It's the increase of knowledge. Is there a way to rationalize that? Could you call that a worthy pursuit, a righteous pursuit? Maybe. But, I guess to get to the crux of it is, if these things are being done in the spirit realm, and many are being warned to never do this, ever, when it comes to spiritual things, basically sorcerers and occultists doing this and creating and birthing spiritual entities that are part of darkness. They serve chaos. They don't have a soul, so to speak. They become these self-aware, conscious beings in the spirit realm that are there to basically take apart creation not to help it, not to facilitate it, not to serve God, or any of these. Ultimately, we can go around and around about what's right and what's wrong. Who am I to say these things have no right to be born? But we're warned over and over and over, even by the people that have practiced this since the Middle Ages. When they do these things, many are warned, stay away from it. And there's good reason for that. I believe that. I mean, it's just an instinctive, when I study these things, it's just an instinctive drive. Like there's something just inherently dangerous about it. And if an occultist can do this and be operating in the spirit realm in this way, as above, so below. Something may be happening physically when he does that, when he's operating in the spirit realm. And when someone is operating in the physical realm, like, say, the creation of one of these man machines, we have no idea what we're messing with. We have no idea the things that are being disturbed, created, moved around, and shuffled in the spirit realm when we're doing things physically with intentions that we don't quite know the depth of. We're just humans are very unaware, very not self-aware in general. We don't know. There's so much we don't even know about ourselves and the things that are motivating us. And it's just, that's one of the most dangerous parts of this, is that where is this born from? It's born from an idea in a mind, and a civilization has come to a point where technology is stacking up and moving at an exponential rate, and we say to ourselves, we see the tower being built and just how massive it's going to go up. I'm speaking metaphorically, and we say to ourselves, why not build it to the sky? And many probably know the end result of that type of hubris. And I don't think we can even begin to predict the things that are going to come from a half man, half machine thing that's just worries me greatly. I've talked about it at length, and one of the demonic forces Rudolf Steiner talked about him, Ahriman. And he represents the spiritual drive in human beings that wants to keep us sort of grounded, enslaved to the physical, dependent on the physical, only to be able to see the three-dimensional realm. It wants to trap us here. And it's just a strange sort of picture to paint, that people would want to stay here forever. Maybe because they don't believe there's anything, maybe because they believe their human consciousness won't survive. Maybe it's an atheistic drive sometimes. Like, it's a way to preserve themselves forever. Ultimately, I say I seem like I'm making a leap here, but one of the things I think is going to come out of this is humans will be able to, if you can put neurons on a plate and grow them, why couldn't you take your own neurons? We all, I have talked about transfer of consciousness, someone trying to take their consciousness when they're close to death or what have you, and transfer it into a machine to achieve immortality that way. What is to stop someone, or what this appears to be doing is facilitating that, as in, if we're growing neurons, what's to stop them from just taking your DNA and growing your specific, very custom-built neurons? How much better it's like blood transfusion with someone with the same blood type. You know what I mean? It's facilitating that. What's to stop them from cloning some of your neurons and then opening that gateway, that doorway to supposed immortality, which I think is a delusion, and it's a trap, a spiritual trap. But the door is opening, man. I mean, this happened just recently. And this man-machine warning that felt like this distant sort of apocalyptic preacher kind of tagline. Man's going to merge with machine. It's coming, and it just seemed like it always, and even to me, it was shocking to me that this happened so soon. I was expecting to come any day to have stuff like this popping up everywhere. I'm sure it will continue to grow and explode from here, but to see this is almost shocking and scary. To see this headline, this on this particular article, it's a biocomputer, and for $35,000. That's just it's scary to me, because most of the time when they come out with stuff like this, it's like so far beyond affordability for regular people. But it just tells me that they're so advanced in this, and it's ready to be mass produced. It's closer to being able to be mass produced and be commonplace. That's why it's so, relatively cheap, instead of being, 4.5 million or 10 or 1.6 billion to make one. It's just 35 grand. These guys can throw one of these things together. It's half human, half silicone, and God only knows what's going to come out of this. So, yeah. Thanks for listening to my ramble, and I'm going to have plenty coming. I actually just moving locations right now. I'm in the process of doing that, so there are lots of videos, got lots of scripts and ideas. I'm improving some things and working on some new types of visuals. There's plenty coming for this channel, so stay tuned, and I will talk to you all later.